Hello there, poetry lovers everywhere. My name is Sarah Jenkins. Welcome to another poetry deep dive today. I love Denis Martindale. He has written over 3,700 poems for the Poem Hunter website. Denis Martindale has written a brand new, marvelous magpie poem. The magpie was seen preening and then shaking his body furiously several times, determined to be as clean as possible. This reminded the poet of the beautiful Taylor Swift and her amusing music video. That is why the title of the poem is Shake It Off, Shake It Off. Here is what the brand new poem's message shares with us today. Section 1. A Poet's Morning Routine. Keeping Up Appearances on August 6th, 2026. Now, what makes this explainer so absolutely fascinating is its micro to macro narrative structure, right? I mean, before we even get to our feathered friend, the poem's origin story starts out remarkably simply. We get to see this incredibly relatable chronological flow. So the poet wakes up after tossing and turning through a stifling heat wave night. We've all been there. He heads straight to the sink, vigorously washing his face and hands with loads of thick, cooling soap lather just to find some relief for his skin. Then he's standing at the mirror, combing his gray hair with absolute precision, making sure it looks, entirely perfect once again. Finally, the shirt goes on and he secures the finishing touch, a steaming cup of what he wonderfully calls charismatic coffee. This very deliberate routine of self-care and presentation, well, that's actually the crucial lens through which the rest of our explainer unfolds. Moving on to Section 2, The Marvelous Magpie, an unexpected visual display. Okay, so our poet, now perfectly groomed and holding his charismatic coffee, leaves the kitchen and climbs the stairs. Gazing out the window, he spots the inciting incident of our story right on a nearby roof. Just read this delightful first stanza with me. He plucked, then pulled, and preened a while, for all the world to see, well, one at least, and with a smile, one witness, namely me. Notice the beautiful cadence there? It instantly establishes such a warm, intimate, and frankly humorous observation. The poet is just standing there, smiling out his window. It's this private little show between a man who just meticulously groomed himself and a bird who is currently doing the exact same thing. But let me tell you, this wasn't just some casual feather adjustment. No way. This bird is utterly and totally obsessed. He is plucking and pulling fastidiously. We are talking about a seriously sustained effort here, preening for 5 minutes or maybe even more. The poet watches as the bird stretches its neck out as far as it can possibly go, plucking relentlessly at a rising long tail. And then the grand finale, shaking its body furiously to ensure it was completely, undeniably clean. Which brings us to Section 3, the Olympic sport of preening, going for gold in personal hygiene. This brilliantly illustrates the amusing imagery the poet uses to describe that furious shaking. Just imagine a wet dog wildly shaking off water after a refreshing paddle in the river. Water flying everywhere, a totally uninhibited shake. Now, compare that to our magpie doing the exact same furious, violent motion, but the result? The magpie is left completely pristine. It's no longer aghast at ruffled feathers, and it's standing incredibly proud. Let's look at the second stanza, because this is where the Taylor Swift connection really crystallizes. I saw this magpie on a roof that some were bound to scoff, but no, not me, and that's the truth. Shake it off, shake it off. Now, while others might just ignore this everyday sight or, scoff at a common bird acting so wildly, the poet sees it totally differently. He views this unexpected visual display almost as a heaven-sent parable. It's a vibrant living reminder appearing right outside his window, validating his own morning routine and reminding him to keep up appearances at the start of each and every new day. Section 4. A Lesson for Young Men. The Magpie's Ultimate Motive. So the absolutely crucial point is this. Why is this bird putting in so much exhaustive effort? Why the frantic 5-minute preening session? Denis Martindale pivots here to the macro meaning of the poem, looking at what this tiny creature's behavior actually reveals about our own human society. And the answer is wonderfully revealed right here in the 6th stanza. Impressing females was his aim. Of that I've got no doubt. His shake it off was not a game, as females would find out. Boom, there it is, the magpie's true, calculated goal. This wasn't just about personal hygiene. It was a performance of amazing grace meant for an audience. It was an essential, serious endeavor to impress females. This sets up a stark, humorous, and honestly just brilliant contrast in the poem. On one hand, we have the pristine magpie, displaying amazing grace, putting in the hard work, and completely proud to show his face to the world. And then the poet points to what he calls dirty men. Men who are entirely unbothered by their appearance, walking around with a lazy, what the heck attitude. Think about it. The perfectly groomed, fastidious little bird on the roof is literally putting these indifferent men to absolute shame. Which naturally leads us to the poem's final, very poignant stanza. If only young men pass the test, to look as good as he, a happy magpie at his best, only for me to see. Here, Denis Martindale delivers his ultimate lesson and his sincere hope. He really wishes that the young men of today would adopt just a fraction of the pride and care that this happy magpie displays. It's such a beautiful wrap-up, bringing the universal lesson back down to that quiet, personal moment where the poet is the sole smiling witness. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with this direct question to reflect on. Do you pass the magpie's grooming test? Tomorrow morning, when you're waking up and going through your own routine, think about our fastidious feathered friend. Are you putting your best face forward with amazing grace, or are you just muttering, "What the heck," under your breath? It's a wonderful little challenge from a truly marvelous poem. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and remember, sometimes the absolute best life lessons are right outside your window. Keep learning, keep observing, and of course, shake it off.